everyone, I'm Kat, and today I wanted to talk about a book called The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Also, this is another one of those books that I've read a while ago, written a script, and then never recorded it. But you know what? I'm not gonna let a perfectly good script go to waste. So let's talk about this book. Alright, so Along with a Small Angry Planet. I didn't know anything about this book going in, aside from it being sci-fi. It did feel like this book popped up in quite a few favorite book lists across several booktube channels that I follow, but that was a few years ago and maybe I'm misremembering. I just remember making a mental note to read it, and then I saw it at a bookstore and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna pick it up. So, this book follows a motley crew of the Wayfarer, a tunneling spaceship, as it takes on a complex and dangerous job of constructing a wormhole tunnel to a very distant planet. The book starts with Rosemary, a young woman running away from her past, joining the ship's crew, which consists of humans and aliens from different species. So, Rosemary works on becoming part of the crew as they all go on this dangerous mission, and it's a lot of just slice of life, peaceful vibes, character interactions type of book. So let me just start with saying that overall, I did enjoy this book. I had a lot of fun with it. I finished it pretty quickly, but I think I had some misconceptions going in just because of the genre. And that's why at first I wasn't quite on board. So let me explain what I mean. From the description and the first few chapters, it feels like Rosemary is our point of view character. But she's actually not. We hop quite a lot between different points of view from all of the crew members. It's more of an ensemble story rather than main protagonist goes and does things type of story, which is perfectly okay. I think if I went into the book knowing that from the start, I would have been fine with it. But because for quite a big chunk I kept thinking Rosemary is our point of view character, or at least like the second protagonist next to the ship's captain, Ashby, I was constantly slightly confused. I felt like her story got sidelined and the narrative kept switching to all these other characters, and I kept thinking, wait, what's Rosemary doing? What is she thinking? Where is she? It felt like she was missing from the narrative, even though she got as much page time as everyone else. And I think I felt like that because the back of the book introduces her as the main character, so that's what I thought going in. And once I realized that's not the case, and it's an ensemble cast, and we're gonna get perspectives from everyone equally, I was fine and I was on board. But I kind of wish that the summary on the back of the book didn't put such a big spotlight on Rosemary. Another little issue that I had with the book, and again, it's kind of like my personal pet peeve, that's why I'm not blaming the book or anything, I'm not saying the book is bad because of that, but all the weird alien species. I tend to be a bit on the fence with a setting that has a lot of different alien species. I know it's a pretty classic sci-fi trope, but it can really take me out of the story. I think because a lot of the time the aliens are kind of just humans with like a different coat of paint, and they just feel too human. They kind of have the same moral beliefs and the same family structures or the same political structures a human society would have. So just having all of the different types of aliens that are basically humans feels very... So at first when I realized we're gonna have all of these different sentient alien species, I was a little bit on the fence, but I'm happy to say that the book did win me over as I kept reading. I thought most of the aliens were quite well done. They were quite interesting, even though they were a little bit too human in a few places. I still liked them. I still thought they were very interesting to read about. I especially like Sissex. She's part of the crew and she's this like reptilian alien who is the ship's pilot. And I think I enjoyed her so much just because how deeply we dove in her like society and familial structure, and I found that quite interesting. And in general, the characters were really fun to read. Even the characters that I didn't like as much, I never felt bored by their chapters. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I wonder what this person's doing. They were all pretty fun. In general, like the world building was quite interesting. This book really feels like, as I already mentioned, a slice of life type of story rather than an epic space adventure. It's very character driven, and I actually found that to be quite neat and refreshing. I don't think we find that a lot, specifically in sci-fi. Basically, this is like a vibes book and not a very plot-driven book. And you read it for the cozy feel, which, you know what, I wasn't completely on board when I realized that's what was happening. But once I got into it, I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying this. I'm loving this. It was very relaxing. But on the flip side, I guess if you go in expecting epic space adventure or some grand plot, you might be disappointed. It just depends on what you like. I really enjoyed soaking in the world and just getting to know the characters, the slow and atmospheric vibe of it. It was just kind of relaxing to not be on the edge of my seat every single page and just follow the characters through their daily life. But I do understand that this might be a huge negative for someone. If you just look at the plot, not much happens at all. Conflicts get resolved pretty easily, the tension is not that high throughout the book, so I could see some people find it pretty boring. But for me, in the headspace that I was in, I was really enjoying it. I was kind of stressed at the time that I read it, so reading it just hit the right spot for me. Surprisingly, I even enjoyed the romance in the book. I'm not a huge romance reader, but what was in the book felt like just enough. It wasn't too overbearing, but it was kind of sweet and cute, and I was on board. So in conclusion, I really, really liked this book. I can't say it's my favorite or it's like a must read, a top 10 on my list or whatever, but I had a good time. However, again, depending on your preferences, it can be a bit hit or miss. But I feel like that if you go in knowing what to expect, that it's a slower, character-centered, slice of life of stories, if all of that sounds great to you, I feel like give this a go. It's a very, very nice book. Saying that though, I know there's sequels, but because it felt like a complete story to me, and from what I understand, the sequels don't follow the same characters, I'm not in a super hurry to read it. I might pick it up when I'm in the mood for another one of those cozy reads, but it's been a couple of years since I've read this and I haven't picked it up again, so we'll see. Maybe I'll get to it eventually. And yeah, I think that's gonna be actually it from me. I know this was very short, but I've been kind of busy. There's a couple of other videos that require a little bit more effort from me, so I just needed something nice and easy to talk about. I'm working on a couple of videos about video games that I like, so that needs some, footage recording, some extra editing. That might take a little bit longer, so from time to time it's nice to just have a short little video talking about a book that I enjoyed. I also have a few like rant book reviews I'm working on. And on one hand, I'm a little bit scared because, you know what? I'm scared to talk about books that people might like in a negative way, but also I kind of need to get it off my chest. So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, sorry for rambling there at the end, and I will see you next time. Have a good time zone. Bye.